Democratic Senator Alex Padilla of California joins me now. Senator Padilla, good morning. Thank you for being here. I want to start with one of the big news stories this morning, which is TikTok is now dark. 270 million Americans can no longer access the app. What do your constituents say about that?
Constituents on both sides of the debate, but, you know, the law has been passed. Supreme Court has upheld what's currently happening, and clearly it's going to be one of the first items that President Trump will have to contend with. So I don't think the final chapter has been written. TikTok had plenty of time to do what the legislation called for and sell the majority interest here. So we'll see what happens in the days ahead.
And do you think President Trump should do what he has said he would do, which is to save TikTok?
I think first it's they're going to figure out whether to give this sort of 90-day extension to keep conversations and negotiations going. Look, we support the creative community and social media platforms, but clearly there have to be guardrails to protect against a lot of the harms that are increasingly evident when it comes to not just, but especially TikTok, whether it's addiction to social media, the power of misinformation and disinformation that transcends so many issue areas. Those are undeniable and have to be addressed, whether TikTok stays or whether TikTok is sold or whether TikTok goes away.
So the inauguration's obviously tomorrow. Are you going to the inaugural?
I do plan to be there, of course.
And what are your expectations for a second Trump term?
There's sort of a lot of maybe not hoping for the best, but hoping for some good, but preparing for some bad if the first administration was any indicator. Look, there's been a lot of assessment or analyzing of what does this mean for Democrats, the outcome of the November elections. I think Democrats, I'm speaking for my colleagues here, stand ready to work with the new administration where we agree. If we want to build on our progress from the last 4 years in record job creation, wage increases, record sustained low unemployment, and historic investments in our nation's infrastructure from an economic and security standpoint, that's great. But if he wants to start the administration by gutting the social safety net simply to fund tax breaks for billionaires, that's a non-starter. So I think the question is really for Trump and Republicans, how are they going to choose to approach this new term and this new session of Congress?
Well, let me ask you about the working with Trump part of that. John Fetterman, your Democratic colleague from Pennsylvania, actually went down to Mar-a-Lago and met with Trump. And he said, he actually told me shortly before going down there that he is rooting for Trump to be a successful president, saying, if you're rooting against the president, you're rooting against the nation. So are you rooting for Trump to be successful? And have you reached out? Would you like to meet with him one-on-one the way Senator Fetterman did?
Look, if I'm going to root for any president to be successful, it depends on how we define success. And I just laid out, if we're going to continue the progress of the last 4 years for the sake of our national security, for the sake of our economy and working class families, then absolutely Donald Trump or anybody else. But I'm not going to root for President Trump's success simply on his terms. And I'll give you a classic example. Just a couple of months ago, despite all the rhetoric around immigration and immigrants that we've heard from him for years and years and years, when he says publicly that he's supportive of helping dreamers, hey, I'm all ears. I have to do that. I owe it to dreamers and all of my constituents to see if there's a path forward for young people who came to this country and have established their lives here, are contributing to communities, contributing to our economy, whether it's legalization and a pathway to citizenship for dreamers, for farm workers, or millions of essential workers. That's the goal, and I'll work with whoever I need to try to make that happen.
Okay, and before you go, very quickly, we've learned that Trump plans to visit California on Friday, to survey the damage at the fires. He's had quite a back and forth, insults traded with your governor, with Gavin Newsom. Just very quickly, how important is it for those two to work together to rebuild L.A.?
Yeah, look, I look forward to incoming President Trump visiting the fire-impacted areas and to visit with the fire-impacted families that are struggling right now, and especially to get away from this notion that we're going to attach strings to disaster aid. We have never done that as a country. We have never done that as a Congress, and we shouldn't start now. Give communities and families the resources they need to recover, to rebuild, and that's the way. If you want to unify the country, that's the way you can start.
All right, Senator Alex Padilla of California, thank you for joining us this morning. And you can see at the bottom of your screen there how you can support relief efforts for SoCal Strong.